Hey guys, Thatnub here. Recently on the property we've had some weird things happening. So we decided to get a security camera system and set it up so we can see who is doing what. After researching all the different security camera systems that were out there and not really wanting to spend too much money, we decided on this Xmarto 4-camera security system, which came in just under $300. Here are the 4 cameras that come with the system. 2 of them are going to be 4mm and 2 of them are going to be 6mm. The 4mm gives you a wider angle and the 6mm allows you to see further, but I right now can't figure out how to tell which one's which, so we'll get to that later. They're all color, have 960p HD, have RCA outs and power outs and data outs, which are right here. This is the data out, so you can get into the camera and mess with some of the settings a little bit, pair it up. This is the audio out right here, which unless you have one of these is going to be useless. And this is the power input. This is not sold with the camera set. I got one of them as part of a bonus or something when I bought the system. But otherwise, I think these are like, I don't know, $6-10 each, something like that. These cameras say that they are wireless, and that is true. They use the Wi-Fi signal here, but they do still need power. So you're going to have to use like one of these plugs here, plug it into the power, and then you will be able to run this, I don't know, down your wall to an outlet or something like that, which makes it a little bit harder for if you want to plug this in outside somewhere, because now you have to start drilling holes. Luckily I own my house, so well, I do what I want. So I might have to drill a couple holes. Otherwise, these do run off of DC, and it goes from AC here to a DC. So you can get a 12 volt, I think this takes 3 amp power source, and maybe plug it into a battery, small battery with a small solar panel, and that might be the way I go for part of the system if I put it out as far as I think I want to. But for now, we're just going to drill a couple holes like in the pump house and a couple holes in the house and power it with plugs right here. The cameras are also weatherproof. I believe it goes to an IP66 weatherproofing. The Wi-Fi is the 802.11 BGN. They all have a motion sensor down here and a daylight sensor. So you can set it up to record when there's motion, or you can just set it up continuous or on a schedule or something like that. It'll also switch from color to black and white for the night vision. And it has 3 little holes here in the bottom for you to be able to secure it to whatever it is you're going to secure it to, a wall or something like that. This came with 2 antennas put into the back, but if you still aren't getting a good Wi-Fi signal with that, they gave you a longer, I think this is what, 10-foot antenna, so you can plug that into one of these and extend your signal out closer to a window or something like that so you can reach the cameras. You also got your data cable, so you can plug it into the back of this, plug it into one of the cameras, and help program it if you need to, if it doesn't auto-program, which it really should, which is kind of one of the reasons why I chose this one. Now this is also going to be your kind of Wi-Fi router for the system, and the signal will go from these antennas to your first closest camera. And let's say we put this one here on the front porch. Now this one, let's say I'm going to put on the pump house, and the signal from here can't reach that. Each one of these cameras is a repeater. So if I have this one close to the house, this one a little bit further away, that one further out, and that one all the way out, then this signal can't reach here, but it'll bounce to this one, then to that one, then to that one, then to here. So I can put these out further without having to have wires or something like that connecting all the way out to those cameras that can't hit the Wi-Fi signal. There is no monitor for this system, so you will plug in an HDMI cable right here, and this will go out to your TV, and then you can watch whatever is recording or whatever did record on that monitor that you have. Also, it has a mouse that plugs into here, so you can walk through the cameras and click on the settings and change things like that. There are a lot of videos out there showing how to set these systems up. In fact, I'm going to watch some of them right now, so I'm not going to bore you with that part. We'll just kind of fast forward to once it's set up and show you what it looks like on the big screen. Okay, so we got it set up. We're going to go ahead and click over here to the HDMI 2. And this is the TV that's on the wall in the office. You can see here we have one camera. This is set up as garden. We have the front door, the pasture, and the back door. So let's go ahead and click through these. We're using the mouse that came with it. So there is the kind of the front yard. We have the garden out here. Tree line, there's the road, and the entrance to the driveway right there. This is just to the right of that. Actually, right here, you can see I lined those up perfectly. These two are at the exact same spot, the corner of the house here. And over here are the other two cameras, one facing the spot where we park in the back door, this one facing out to the pasture. So we can see the rest of the driveway here and anybody coming through there. Here is where we park the cars. And over here is the back door. And this is where our fence ends. And the property line still goes all the way down that. So we can see if anybody comes over this way into our property to mess with the cars. You can see the whole back of the property there. And this one here takes us out to the pasture. So this is from the pump house looking out, all the way out to the end of the 2 acres there of pasture. So here's that same tree line from the first camera. And there's the railing for the deck. So we can see pretty much everything in the pasture there. And there's all 4 cameras. Now you can see right here we have the Wi-Fi hooked up on all 4 of them, and this camera here, being close to the router signal, is our main camera. This camera here and this camera here are actually routing through this camera to get into the house. They were getting signal, but it was kind of choppy and it would cut out and cut back in. And I didn't like that, so I used this camera here as the main one and connected these two to it. Now with this I found out that you can only connect 2 cameras to one, and you can't daisy chain them. So I can't go this camera to this camera to this camera to this camera and get it, you know, say one way out there at the end of the property line. What I can do is go with another camera as far as I possibly can out into the pasture area out here. Say like on one of these posts out here maybe. And then from there do another one out at the end of the property, and that one would relate to that one, which would relate to the house. But to do that I need to do a solar setup for the power, and I don't know if I'm going to do that right now. We're going to wait until we get a couple more cameras where we can do 4 more on this, and then we'll have 8 total, and that's where we'll get the back end of the house over here. So that's it set up. Let's see, we got the time on each one, we got the label for each one. If we right click our mouse, we can go here and do like a video playback, And we can do past 5 minutes, past 10 minutes, past 30 minutes, or we can search for the exact time frame that we want. So that's it in the daytime. And we are going to show you the night vision as soon as it gets a little bit darker. Shouldn't be too much longer, it's already 6:30. But I did want to show you the app on the phone. Here on my phone I have the Xmarto Wall Pixel app, and I just got that from the Google Play Store. Here we can see the first screen. We're going to click right here and it says, hey, you're using a 2G, 3G, 4G network. Are you sure you want to continue? You can do it off of Wi-Fi, but I want to be able to see this from being out and about, so we're going to load it like that. And there are all 4 of our cameras, and we can double click any of these to get to whatever shot we want. And then in here you can also zoom in, even though it doesn't really add any more clarity to it. It just kind of makes it a blurry mess. But you can zoom in with, stop that, with this. And then if you turn it sideways, you can see just the 4 shots. How much data you're using per second there. It has the labels on there and the time. If you flip it back up, in here you can hit snapshot or playback or go through any of those other settings. So this is kind of cool. This way I can be out fishing or on a break at work or something like that and see what's going on the property. We're going to wait until it gets a little bit darker and then show you what the cameras look like at night. As you can see here, it is 7:53 at night and we have night vision, which this is really bright and clear. And I think because most of the cameras are facing kind of the same open area, that it's really lighting everything up. See that all of this here is getting lit up from this camera. This camera here is shooting across the front yard, so you can see it right here, the IR light. This one is that camera there. So this camera is shooting out that way. And then that camera there is shooting out towards here for the car. So this whole area is really lit. This one was really hazy, and it's because this light here was bouncing off of this awning. So it was kind of flooding this light out, or this camera out. So I went out and moved it down just a little bit, and now it is perfect. One thing though, these IR lights are really attracting the little creepy crawlies. Either that or they're always out there and I just never see them, and now they're flashing across the screens because of all the light out there. Well, that's all I have for this video. As always, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, check us out on the website, and we'll see you guys on the next one.